statements. Let's listen.
La institución que más integre todas las instancias del verdadero poder democrático de Venezuela y que permita que el país siga transitando su rumbo hacia su total y absoluta recuperación. Nos hemos visto las caras todos estos años, año por año, señores gobernadores, alcaldes, alcaldesas, gobernadoras, a los vicepresidentes de gobierno, compañero Diosdado Cabello Rondón, general en jefe Vladimir Padrino López, Héctor Rodríguez Castro, Jorge Márquez, Ricardo Menéndez, Gabriela Jiménez y Alfred Nazaré Ñáñez, los vicepresidentes de gobierno. Todos estos años hemos estado perseverando en el camino de la Constitución, perseverando en este camino. Esta muchacha que cumplió 25 años recientemente, el 15 de diciembre, lo celebramos por todo lo alto en el ejercicio de la soberanía popular intransferible.
It was a day of popular consultation to elect the justices of the communal peace. How we have persevered in the path of this constitution. And year after year, we have seen each other's faces. In the start of the month of January, if we reviewed thoroughly the effort that has been carried out from the Federal Council of Government in the last 6 years, we could write the political, economic, and social history of the Venezuela of these times we're living in, because we went through years of threats that were tough, of aggressions, constant aggressions. During these years, we saw the resources of the country vanish. We saw economic aggressions affecting the social sector of the republic, and the income reduced significantly. And with the favor of God and the wisdom of this constitution, we knew how to fix things and resist and move forward as we are doing it right now, step by step, little bit by little bit, focusing on the strengthening of the democracy of the institution and addressing the necessities of the people. And every year has to be better than the previous one. I have been repeating a phrase of the great liberator of the eastern band of Uruguay, José Ignacio Ortega, that is perfect for these historic times humanity is living. Let's not expect anything else but from ourselves and yourselves, women. Let's not expect anything but from ourselves. A journalist asked me yesterday, do you believe that such government is going to respect Venezuela? And I answered with my opinion. If you don't demand respect, you are not respected. You must demand respect in the world. The one that is disrespected is the one who allows it. I learned that in the neighborhoods of Caracas and in the working movement. We need to demand respect in first place. Let's not expect anything else but from ourselves. Let's not expect anyone to disrespect us. Let's demand respect. And I've been complementing this with a way of thinking that has a great validity, as is the figure of this historic character, as great as in its creation. Today we create, or today we make a mistake. It is so simple to describe the historic time that Simón Rodríguez had to live in, and he said it at the right time, starting with the period of what was the first independence that was betrayed and stabbed from inside for all the oligarchies. Or we invent, or we make a mistake. And those who invented power didn't invent, they copied, they subordinated, and gave their land of a revolution that was headed by a great liberator, Simón Bolívar, the Mariscal Mayacucho, the great general of freedom, Rafael Urdaneta. They gave it to a new colonial. The marvelous formula of true independence is to create our own paths. No one's going to write a manual of the path that Venezuela must walk today or tomorrow. We should write our own history, or other people are going to write it. We need to choose. A free people or a slave people, a colony or independence. Or we invent, or we make a mistake. And I can say, Simón Rodríguez, wherever you are, we have followed your path, and the country has been able to invent and reinvent its formulas to rebuild itself and restart itself. And if we take from the 19th century Simón Rodríguez and our great liberator, José Gervasio Ortiga, liberator of the Eastern Band of Uruguay, but it's our liberator of South America. We also must add, as we have been adding, the way of thinking of ourselves. We have our own way of thinking. We don't need to look for it anywhere else. We have our people who think inspired by their own reality in a concept that has relation with our reality, our past, our present, our future. And there we go, Aquiles Nazoa. This year, 50 years are commemorated. Diosdado, fellow mate, for your program. This year, we commemorate 50 years of the great poem of Credo de Aquiles Nazoa. 50 years. Do you know? He was from Caracas, from Guarataro neighborhood. And there, he, among so many marvelous formulas, as poets say, so many metaphors and ways of draw reality, he creates his poem inspired by the Catholic Church. I believe in God and Jesus Christ. Inspired by the Catholic Church, he said, I believe in the powers that create the people. And by believing in the powers that create the people, is that we are here standing up and ready to continue with this way towards the upcoming years with a Venezuela that must strengthen its democracy, its economy, its institutionality, and that has the Magna Carta that this year we're going to submit to debate. We have a lot of work to do this year. We have the elections on April 27th. You must be in a campaign or the previous days of a campaign. I see the faces of some people here saying that they're going to repeat and become candidates again. The election's date is established on April 27th. Get ready to repeat. That is not up to me. I don't appoint or deny candidates. Every political party will elect their candidates, and I wish you luck. Governors, mayors, I'm thankful to you for the labor you have done for the peace of Venezuela during all these complex years. If you repeat, we will see each other here in a year. You are invited. On April 27th, there's a call, the first constitutional call, because this year the constitutional mandate of governors, mayors, and National Assembly must be renewed. The National Council is the only body to call on electoral processes. It does not correspond to the President of the Republic or any other institution to appoint legislators, councils, senators. It corresponds to the only one that can appoint governors, mayors, and that's the sovereign people, the neighbors, the men and women of the streets. They only can decide. And these years have went by fast. The new National Assembly has a date to be established January 5th, 2026, 11 a.m. And the people on January 27th will elect a new National Assembly, legislative power of the power, elections, democracy. Let's get ready to go to the streets. You must get ready to debate, and the people will decide, and that will be the best decision for every state, every municipality of the country, and in general, for the whole country. There's a lot of work to do for this year. We have 6 consultations. This Sunday, we will hold a popular consultation so that the communal circuits, marvelous formula, Minister Ángel Prado, Minister of the Popular Power for Communes, the Popular Movements, and Urban Agriculture. The first consultation of the year, we have 36,000 projects that are debated by the people. These are not projects invented by Maduro, since supposedly Maduro is a dictator. He imposes the projects for the people. What are we, a dictatorship? How do we call this? It is not tough at all. It cannot be called dictatorship. The regime of Maduro has promoted 36,000 projects. I talk this way so that the EFE agency of Spain has information. The agency that every year, every day is carrying out a campaign against our country. Watch out, because fascism can come back to you, and all of the journalists that are mercenaries against Venezuela will see the face of fascism. God forbid that another Franco rises in Spain. God protects Venezuela as well from fascism and the understanding of politics as the exercise of hatred and violence. This Sunday, February 2nd, precisely February 2nd, commemorating 26 years of the arrival of Commander Hugo Chavez to the palace of Miraflores, sworn in as President of the Republic, our people are going to exercise their sovereignty, and I call on all of the communities, all of the neighbors, get informed of the 7 projects that are going to be debated in your communal circuit, and on Sunday, the 5,334 communal circuits, go out and vote and elect your project, because here we have the budget and the resources, and you decide, you elect, and you will receive the resources. This year we have several challenges. Popular consultations. We're going to hold 6, 4 at general level and 2 at particular level. 1 belongs to the youth, projects that are proposed by the youth, for the youth. We need to think very well about it. I was telling to the Vice President and Minister Jorge Marquez, we're talking, and I said to Angel Prados, we need to develop the amount of possible projects to postulate for the youth, with the youth, and in the same way, relating the culture, which cultural projects we need to reinforce our identity, our symbols, our idiosyncrasy, our traditions, our culture, diverse and mixed. And to combine this marvelous method so that the people decide, receives the resources, and use them. Do you want more democracy? There you have it. Let's keep building this path. The Federal Council of Government, a constitutional body, presided by the Executive Vice President. She has been working on all of these issues. I would like she to provide records on the year 2024 and the essential proposals for this year 2025. This Federal Council of Government is going to assume, since it's a year of elections that are going to renovate governorates, town halls, and anything won't stop. I hope we can have a year better than 2024, and we can continue to move forward in developing projects. Please, Vice President. Thank you, President. First of all, we must say that this is a body that is encompassed in the Constitution and has resisted the attacks of the criminal blockade against Venezuela. This body has thanked the governors, mayors, and the popular power, and has resisted the brutal situation of economic necessity created by the blockade. However, I will have to say that the year 2024 was a very good year when compared to 2023. But when we presented a resume of 2023, we said it has been a very good year regarding 2022. So the resources have increased, especially methodology. First of all, we need to define the areas in which we're going to invest resources: public services, health, electricity, something that has born from the reality of our people. And there, this method that you have applied after consultations carried out in 2024, both consultations have been successful, and the popular power can say mission accomplished, President Maduro. And what is waiting for 2025 is growth, is development, and to consolidate everything we had and looking for new path. In 2024, were executed practically all of the projects, almost 12,000 projects, 11,900 projects, 2,900 between governorate and town halls. The one of town halls reached 78%, and the projects financed in the first and second consultation reached an 100% of execution. So the resources were allocated on time and invested in the case of the popular consultations in assemblies, and where the projects were presented and then elected, but also something relevant, which is the process of analyzing the resources received. So what you were saying about the popular power using better the resources with transparency, because we are renting account in a very important way, reaching over an 80%, and this is a marvelous method to consolidate popular democracy. Then what has to do with areas in the first and second popular consultation, the project that was financed the most was related to water, and the second to viability. If we compare it to the Federal Council of Government, the second sector was water. So we see a conclusion between this body, which is the Federal Council of Government, the regions, governorates, town halls, and popular powers. These are the same areas for investment and where we have had an extraordinary execution. So President 2024 has closed with extraordinary numbers, and I want to congratulate the Secretary of the Council of Government, because has been there. And in 2025 President, the numbers will be of growth relating 2024. I hope this accomplishes. Let's listen to the Executive Secretary. President, I want to thank you as worker of the Federal Council of Government. I think we're proud to address the popular power more and more. We have created methodologies to accelerate times and adapt your orders in matter of development of projects to create more inclusive projects where the popular power has the opportunity to adapt to the small needs and big needs that each territory has, and at the same way it develops on the right time, and the execution is carried out with good practices in correspondence with the resources, but also highlighting the directives in each of the sectors. This has allowed that in this method of rendering accounts, we carry out an assembly in each of the circuit, and the leader of the project is strengthened. So congratulations, President, because this cycle of popular consultations developed by you is an extraordinary method to guarantee that the popular power keeps receiving resources. This year, 2024, was a year of growth in each sector. more than 12,000 in different projects and categories, and more than 9,000 were allocated to the popular power. You can count on the team of the communal councils and communes that are willing to guarantee that your policies reach every territory. That's correct. Institutionally, we are reunited under the Article 185. 185. It reads, the Federal Council of Government is the body in charge of planning and coordinating policies and actions to the development of processes of decentralization and competences of the national power to the states and municipalities. It will be presided by the Vice President, the Executive Vice President, and made up by ministers, governors, mayors of each state, and representatives of the organized society complying with the law. We are in our law, as Mexicans say. We are with our Constitution. The Federal Council of Government will have a secretary, made up by the Executive Vice President, 2 ministers, 3 governors, 3 mayors. From the Federal Council of Government will depend the Fund of Interterritorial Compensation, destined to financing public investments to promote the balanced development of regions, cooperation and complementation of the policies and initiative of the different institutions in the territories, and support the construction of works and services needed for the territories. The Federal Council of Government will discuss and approve annually the resources allocated for the Fund of Compensation and the prioritized areas in which these resources will be allocated. This is the end of the article. This article read this way if you use your creativity in a public debate regarding the constitutional reform of February 15. It can be perfected regarding the experience we have obtained and integrate it. The bodies of the popular power already defined that execute and develop projects in the territory. Do you realize when we talk about the constitutional reform, we do it to perfect democracy and the constitutional model of Venezuela, to draw the society of the future and include all of the sectors in a constitution that is inclusive and that we have. From the inclusive spirit of the Constitution of the 99 to call more and prioritize social players and the people of the streets, the real strengths of a country that is new, that is different. I was saying it to the journalist, Brendan Alma, from Brazil, who interviewed me. It's in my YouTube channel if you want to see it, and also on my social media. And he was saying, what is this reform for? And I was explaining. It has 3 objectives: to extend the Venezuelan democracy and perfect it. Second, draw the elements and values of the construction of a new society, a new civilization, a new modernity from Venezuela with idiosyncrasy and identity. And in the third place, to reflect here the economic model to be developed for the societies of the future, for a self-sustained Venezuela with a diversified economy and protected from inner and external attacks. We are building. So the Federal Council of Government has secretary that's going to be proposed by the Vice President of the Republic.
Secretaría ante el Consejo Federal de Gobierno 2025. Estaría conformada por vicepresidente.
It will be confirmed by Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez.
Consejo Federal de Gobierno y Fondo
Federal Council of Government and Fund of Interterritorial Conversation, Subsecretary Leonardo Montezuma Ruiz.
Por los ministros y ministras, el vicepresidente.
For the ministers, the Vice President of Public Services, head of the 1x10 and number 2T, Minister of Energy, Márquez González de Tobar, Mérida, and the Vice President of Science, Technology and Artificial Intelligence, Minister of Science, Professor Gabriela Jiménez Ramírez from Caracas. Which part? From La Guaira. By the governors, 3 governors. Governor Antonio Primitivo Cedeño Marrera from Portuguesa, the Governor Ernesto Javier Luna González from Monagas, and Governor José Alberto Galíndez Cordero from the state of Ojedes. The 3 governors of the Secretariat of the Council. And at the level of town halls, we would be the mayor of Caracas, Carmen Teresa Rivas, the mayor of the Mara municipality, San Rafael del Mojan. Unforgettable, the visit we carried out there, full of spirituality and love. I was there, and I still feel the love of there and the original peoples. Luis Geraldo Caldera Morales, and of the state Nueva Esparta, the town hall of Maneiro, Patar, David Morel Rodriguez, better known as Morelito. Greetings to your grandfather, Governor Morel. This would be the Secretariat to work as a collective together everything that needs to be done. The Vice President was saying last year it was possible to increase over 100% the allocation of funds regarding 2023, the equivalent of $2.9 million in bolivars, of which was given to the governorates $119 million, to the town hall $60 million. The level of execution of the projects in the governorates is at 87%, and it should finish this year, and the execution of town halls is at 78%. To the popular power, through the new method of the direct consultation with a direct vote of the people, was delivered $96,384,000 and its equivalent in bolivars, and it has execution in the first consultation of 97% and the second one of 96%, a record execution. Congratulations.
Correcto.
290 million, we're saying.
Se va a incrementar
This year,
un
we will increase it
distribuido a través del Fondo
by
Territorial del Consejo
54%,
Federal de Gobierno,
distributed by the
447
Interterritorial Fund of the
275
Federal Council of Government,
707
over
dólares,
$400 million, and its equivalent in bolivars.
Llegará el momento en que
The moment will come when the recovery of the economy, we only use Bolivar as a reference. Everything at its time, with patience,
todo se puede.
everything is possible.
Esa es la frase, ¿verdad?
That's the phrase.
Sí. Con paciencia, todo se puede. Correcto. En este sentido,
In this sense,
las gobernaciones van a tener un
the governorates will have 29% more of resources, over $129 million and its equivalent in bolivars, and the town halls will have 15% more of resources, over $67 million or its equivalent in bolivars. The popular power for the consultations, because now the popular power is the one that decides the project, not some techniques here or there. It's going to have a fund of that is going to be received by the Federal Council of Government for the 4 general consultations, will receive $237 million, which implies 130% more resources. And as a Portuguese friend of mine said, that's beginning, because this year has to be the big bang of the direct democracy. That's just the beginning. Many good things are developing to keep working. Another datum I can provide you that the Federal Council of Government has given me is the priorities of the projects. 80% of the projects of governorates and town halls are focused on viability. Yesterday I signed a decree to increase the development of this process to in paths, roads, and streets. We are permanently carrying out an effort, and we can do more with what we have. A lot more. 30%, water 16%, health 13%, electricity 12%, transportation 9%, governorates and town halls with their work teams doing this. But look at the priorities of the popular power. First of all, water. Second place, housing, the issue of housing and the new housing plan. In the third place, the roads. In 28%, in the first place, water. Here it is. In the first place, water 28%. Second place, roads 17%. and governorates and town halls had it in the first place. Roads, they are worried about the roads more. The potholes in the streets, I do as well. I was out of a beautiful act, and when I was leaving, I stepped on a pothole, and people said, the neighbors, it has been there for 13 years. And I said, today it's going to be covered. But did I have to be there to carry out that task? It's a reflection. I know that the work is hard and sometimes the resources are not enough, but when you put your effort and support in the creative power of the people, everything is possible. And I said to the neighbors, couldn't you gather some ground and cover it, and then protest and said, we need to do something to solve the problem. But it's not possible that the pothole continues to be there for years and nobody solves the problem. Things have to work, and this country has to work, and it has to be beautiful, better every time for a people that deserves it. And what I said yesterday, for a people that is here building, for the migrants that have returned, that are a lot, 1,200,000. In schools, we have welcomed 4,000 new kids in this school year. There where they were, they didn't have the right to public free education, and they were discriminated because they were Venezuelans, or the campaign that the far right has carried out against Venezuela. All of those people of the far right wing that I'm not going to mention. Those kids came to Venezuela. They are happy. They have a school, education. They will graduate in primary school, high school, and they have their place in the universities to study wherever they want to study. Only in Venezuela. Venezuela has to be a paradise for our people. We need to achieve it. We're going to do it. And for those who return, because we say to our migrants, we want you to return so that you be happy here and become entrepreneurs here and work here in your land. It will be the legacy of your children, so that they come here to party, to dance, to work, to study, to create a homeland. We want they to return. If they are not loved there, we do love them, and we open our arms for them. This blessed Venezuela. Water supply, 28%. On the second place, water. Roads, second place. There's the tide. We need to focus on the second transformation of the plan of the 7 transformations. Water, roads, roads, water. And on the third place, governors have electricity, you have housing, and in fourth place, popular power. And governors have, in the fourth place, electricity, and fifth, transportation. You have fourth place, electricity, fifth, health, sixth, education, and their productive services, which is the productive economy. So we need to use all of those fields to have a single method of work to be able to keep articulating. Rule is not easy. I tell you. And I think that I know and you know. Why do I say it? And rule with sanctions, economic war, and threats 24 hours a day, it's hard because it's a challenge. I'm not crying, nor I will. We are fighting. In the past, they say we are working hard and moving forward. This is a national offensive, simultaneous national offensive in all of the fronts of life. That's why we have 7 lines of transformation. It's something that has to happen nationwide. I know that rule and being a mayor is very difficult. I never wanted to be a mayor. I refused to be a mayor. When someone said, Nicolas, you could be the mayor of Caracas, Freddy was a witness because he was the mayor of Caracas twice and had good relations with the metropolitan mayors by then. They were close friends. You look good as a mayor. Being a mayor is difficult. Being a governor is also very complex. But it's harder to be a mayor. That's what I think, that's what I see. I like to be a deputy because it requires an effort, but I like the political debate. I was happy being deputy from 2000 to 2005. Isn't it true, Celita? That's the first lady that loves you, first combatant that defends you. Deputy. It was successful, and I learned a lot in that period, 2000, 2005. It was hard, but we grew up and strengthened the ideas of the national project, risking everything to defend our eternal commander, Hugo Rafael Chávez Frías. But to be a governor, a mayor, is a very difficult task. But do you know how everything is easier when you trust the people, when you call on the people, when you empowered people and trust them, and in the way in which governorates, town halls, and ministries are closer to the people and become an instrument of people, be sure that it would be easier and we will have a better country. Difficulties of all of these years, 6, 8 years, have made of us better people. That's what I believe. Today, we are better people. Today, we are better human beings. Today, we have a better people. We have it. And in the way the upcoming months and years go through and challenge us, we will grow up and you will see that we will be better every day. That's why I always call on dialogue, public debate, and mainly work, because if there's something that transforms human beings, it's work. If you work with faith and honesty, you build a new spirituality in yourself. If you work and you're capable of sacrifice things for other people and your homeland, you build something greater of what is your mission in this life. I want to congratulate you all. This Federal Council of Government is one of the most important institutions, and I hope that with the constitutional reform we strengthen it, and I want to wish you success and that we need to succeed. Congratulations, Mrs. Vice President, governors, mayors. Thank you very much.